Explorations. Probing global diversification. We travel the world so you don't have to.
Is laughter good medicine? What is the significance of laughter? Is it a part of living life to the fullest? And how does it contribute to a positive attitude? How can we laugh at a dark situation? And how does it affect our body? What is its effect on stress? Is it possible to find laughter even in the darkest moments? And when nothing else is available, is there a quick fix? Is it really a part of living life to the fullest? And how does it contribute to a positive attitude? Why is it difficult to laugh at something happening to us personally, and yet we can laugh at the same situation happening to someone else? A laughter yoga teacher will talk about how laughing is a huge part of living life to the fullest. And a comedian will enlighten us as to the many benefits of finding humor even in the darkest moments. Also, our energy specialist will talk about the significance of laughter and how quickly we can change our energy with just a good belly laugh. So, let's get started with our laughter yoga instructor, Kathryn Kimmins.
I guess I'll start by asking you a little bit about how you got involved in what exactly is now. I haven't been privy to it, but laughter yoga, is that how you would what would you call it that you do?
Laughter yoga. It's a blend of laughter exercises and deep yogic breathing. So there's no poses involved in laughter yoga. We take maybe some of the yoga poses, but it's strictly laughter, and I can't even say it's the yoga poses. It's more the breathing, the stretching part of that, and that's about it.
Now, is this a concept that you've come up with, or is this a concept that's been around?
1995, Dr. Madan Kataria, a medical doctor in India, was doing some research on laughter being the best medicine, and he decided to take it to a park in Mumbai, India. And he found 5 people in the park. They were telling jokes at that time. After 10 days, 50 people later, the jokes started running out. They were inappropriate. Some of them were, going over people's heads. He needed to come up with another idea on how to get people to laugh. And doing more research, he found out that our bodies don't know the difference between fake laughter and real laughter. His wife, Madhura, is a yoga instructor. So they decided to incorporate the breathing part of it into the laughter, because if you laugh for too long of a period of time, you can actually strain your internal organs. So we'll do laughter exercises, and then we'll do some breathing exercises in between. There's more to it than just the laughter and the breathing. It's just an absolute hoot.
So just tell us then briefly about a typical session.
A typical session starts off with me introducing what I'm just telling you right now, telling people what's involved in laughter yoga, the benefits, the contraindications, and then we get into a warm-up exercise where we're doing some breathing. Depending on who I'm working with. I'm working with seniors. A lot of the seniors, when they get older, they don't breathe properly. They don't breathe from the diaphragm. So they love to sing. So I ask them, or I suggest that we sing some songs, some familiar songs that they already know. It's a Wonderful Life or Daisy, Daisy. And it just increases their oxygen intake. And the reason for that is because if you start laughing for no reason, and this is what we're basically doing, then you can start coughing. You can, just run out of air. So we warm up, we increase the oxygen intake, and then we get into some cute exercises, laughter exercises. And the exercises are all named. There's a name for every one of them. And there's the science behind it as well. So if we're laughing, we're increasing oxygen, which also increases blood cells or oxygen to our blood. It increases brain cells, body cells. So the science behind it is very important.
So laughing is just one of the conduits, singing, whatever you can use to help people breathe better, or what's the ultimate goal here?
Better health, longevity, optimum health. No disease can exist in a body that's oxygenated. So if you oxygenate your body through laughter, because you're increasing the oxygen twofold, because they say, scientific studies have shown that if you laugh for 1 minute, it's like being on a rowing machine or any other cardiovascular machine for 10 minutes. And if you laugh for 10 minutes, it's like half an hour. So you're really working your internal organs, your digestive system. I'm not sure if you've ever heard, when people eat and they lie down, not a good idea. It's better to laugh and get your digestive juices flowing, and laughter can do that for you as well.
You mean to laugh while you're eating, or?
No, you don't. No, it's afterwards. So like I said, a lot of people will go lie down. They're tired. They've eaten too much, and they'll lie down. And what happens is, all the food is just sitting there. It's not being worked about. And when you laugh, you work the digestive juices, and that helps you to digest better.
You say you got to warm up. It sounds to me like it would be a lot of work to be laughing, say, for an hour straight. Is that typical?
No, we don't laugh for an hour. I usually talk for 5 minutes. It depends on my group. If they've never heard of laughter yoga, the conversation before we start is a little bit longer. If the group have heard it already, then I get into, a little bit of a repeat, because there's so much to share on what laughter yoga is all about. And I can talk about different things every time I do a session. So the session starts with me introducing the concept, the warm-up exercises, the breathing. And in between that, I'm talking about what the benefits are as we're doing this. And then we do a meditation. We do a laughter meditation, and we do a relaxation meditation. So in all, it's an hour.
How did you come to be involved in this yourself?
A friend of mine introduced it to me. She took me to a friend's house while she told me she was doing laughter yoga, and I thought, wow, that sounds really cool. So I went to her friend's home, and she started doing laughter yoga. And I thought at first it was funny, it was silly, you're acting like penguins and you're giggling, and depending on the exercises, I work with children, so we act like animals, and not the whole time, but so you get very, very silly, very, very playful. And after a while, it's just like, this is fantastic. I mean, I've never laughed so hard and so long. And when you're with a group of people and you're laughing with them, it just enhances it even more.
You mentioned you have grandchildren?
I do. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter.
And do you use the laughter yoga with her?
I do. 3 years ago, so she's going to be turning 7. So she was 4, just turned into her 4th year, and I introduced it to her. And I found that she wasn't able to laugh without a reason. And that's what laughter yoga is about. It's laughing for no reason. But again, when I introduce an exercise, we are laughing for a reason. So I find children are a little bit inhibited, and it's not just children, it's adults too. I mean, there's people out there like me that, just love it. And then there's other people that, I'm not sure if I really like this, laughing. And it's a, self-conscious type of thing. But Madison, she's been doing laughter yoga with me for 3 years now. And she goes to different venues with me, and she introduces the exercises, and everybody just loves her. Because once she loses that shyness, she gets really into it. And if it's like a belly laugh, the kind that you want to roll around on the floor, she's down there and she's doing it. And people can really tap into her playfulness.
You mentioned that she was a little apprehensive in the beginning to laugh.
In the beginning, yes, because she would play, like there's an exercise that we do called gibberish. And gibberish is an exercise that takes you out of the moment. So if you're hurt, you hurt yourself. If you start laughing or you start talking gibberish, instead of using nice, other words, then you can alleviate the pain through laughter, and you can alleviate the way you're feeling through gibberish. And you can use gibberish for many different things, whether it's if you're, in an argument with somebody, or you're just trying to diffuse an argument. Mind you, you don't want to use gibberish with somebody that they don't know what you're doing. Madison was taking school with her, and the teacher's going, I don't understand what she's doing. And of course, they told my son what she was doing. My son came to me, and I had to talk with Madison. You can't do gibberish when people don't know what you're doing. So it's a great way to communicate without using words.
This technique that you have, is it good to use with for someone who might be in a really bad mood, or would you recommend that someone's just in an average mood when they get started?
People have come to my sessions and they have not known what to expect. And a lot of them have come not feeling well, or, in a mood, different kind of a mood. And depending on how open they are, they will let loose and they will join in on the fun. And there's others that just don't get it. It's not that they don't get it, but they have a hard time, being in the moment. And that's what we're doing when we're laughing. We're being in the moment. There's nothing else going on in our lives but laughter. So a lot of people have a hard time sometimes with it.
But you do say that laughter is good medicine. I did see a survey somewhere. It was quite a lengthy survey that involved a lot of people. It was done in Europe. And the crux of the survey was that they came to the conclusion that having a positive attitude didn't really help in the end when it came to battling a serious illness or serious disease. What's your take on that?
When someone is battling a serious illness?
Yeah.
And bringing laughter yoga, or I call it laughter yoga because that's the term, but it's basically laughter therapy. And someone who's battling a serious disease, they can either bring laughter into their lives, knowing the benefits. So if people realize the benefits and they want to feel better, then they're going to take it on. I've worked with so many people that, what's the word I'm looking for? They accept the laughter as a cathartic treatment. Okay, it doesn't replace, the medical treatment that they're getting, but it helps them to feel better instantly. And again, it's just how open they are. Now, some people, they just don't want to laugh for some reason. So, I can be, being really goofy, and they can accept that and bring it on and start laughing, or they can just kind of maybe withdraw.
Now,
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you consider it then a personal challenge to try and draw laughter out of people who don't seem to want to do it or can't seem to somehow identify with this?
If there's somebody in the group that is not responding, and a lot of people won't even respond to the breathing exercises, of course they're breathing, but when I talk about the breathing, it's raising of the arms, taking nice deep breaths in, and even then they will not attempt to do that. They are in a mind space where they are not going to laugh. I've had people say to me, you cannot make me laugh. I am not going to laugh. And of course, I'm interacting with everybody. I'm all over the place, all around the room. And I've been in front of not thousands of people, but close to 1,000. And you can only reach so many people. But the ones that I find that are not responding, then I will go out of my way and I will make eye contact. And eye contact is very, very important. And I will smile and I'll get playing the role of whatever I'm doing. And either they give a smile, they giggle. I mean, even being surrounded by laughter is cathartic.
Do you get all kinds, like at your class? Do you get old, young, bikers, ballet dancers, pixie suckers? Do you get the gamut?
Yes and no. I get different ages coming to the classes, different age groups coming to the classes. No bikers as of yet. I have a lot of bystanders watching, laughing, giggling, and even then, and that's why I love doing it in the park, because then we're bringing laughter yoga to the public outside instead of inside in a venue where nobody else can see it except for the people that are participating. So it's very, very unique with the kind of people that hire me to come out as well. I mean, I've done laughter yoga for red hats, for cancer patients, brain injuries, Alzheimer's. I'm doing a session coming up on Saturday for the Huntington Society of Canada. So I would say if I had a group of 25 people, there might be, not necessarily, but there might be one person that may not participate. But that's rare when nobody participates. There's some kind of a participation going on at some level.
What is it? What do you love to see when you're having a class?
Oh, I just love to see everybody tapping into their child, just having fun, connecting with people. Just, I like laughter yoga because it can be a very, what's the word? No, I don't want to say touchy, but people need touch. So when you're when you're doing an exercise with people, there's a handshake reading that we do. So I try to incorporate touch in laughter yoga, whether it's a touch on the shoulder or even, some of the exercises we do where it's ice cube laughter, where you're running around and you're pretending to put ice cube down people's back. I mean, there's a lot of people that are reclusive and they don't get out and they don't participate in a lot of social activities, and laughter yoga brings that social aspect into their life.
What is the most significant change that you've seen in a client or a person, a student?
Well, I had a woman come into a class at Sackville Hill Senior Center. She has MS, and she was not able to move around very easily. She had braces on. And one example she had shared with me, and I was so happy that she shared this with me, getting out of bed was an issue for her. It was a process, like a 4-step process. She just couldn't get out of bed like the rest of us can. So when laughter yoga started, when she started coming to the classes, she noticed that she was sitting right up when she woke up, instead of rolling over to her side, pushing her legs over the side of the bed. And this was in a process. It wasn't instant. And with the laughter yoga, she was able to get out of bed, just sitting up and throwing her legs over. So sharing that with me was absolutely fantastic. Another woman was doing a particular exercise called lion laughter. And lion laughter is a pose in yoga, but we incorporate laughter and we don't get down on all fours. Now with children, sure, I might do that. But she was doing this exercise, and in this exercise, you open your mouth very wide and you laugh. And she felt severe pain in her back. The next day she called me, or she came into the store. I work at a health food store. And she came into the store, she goes, my pain is gone. I've had this chronic pain for years and years and years, and it disappeared. The pain was there, but this morning I woke up and there's been no pain, and she came into the store months later and said it has not returned. So, I mean,
it's absolutely powerful stuff. People with tendinitis who can't raise their arms over their heads are all of a sudden raising their arms over their head within 15 minutes of doing laughter yoga. And those are just a few examples. I had a gentleman at Dr. Popkamp Hospice. He was in a wheelchair, had a little crooked smile. He was participating, he was laughing, and afterwards I went over to him and I says, how did you like the session? He goes, I could feel dopamine squirting in my brain. He says, the drugs that I'm taking started to clear. I could start thinking clearer. And I thought, oh my God, that's so wonderful.
And this is, each one of these people had only one session with you? That's from one session?
That was one session with the one woman who has MS had done 10 sessions with me. No, actually, she came back for 2 sessions, 2 sets, so it was like 20 sessions. But the gentleman who talked about the dopamine, it was 1 session. The other woman with the chronic back pain, 1 session. The tendinitis, 1 session. So yeah, it's fantastic.
How many sessions do you recommend, or does it depend on the person?
I recommend you laugh every day.
So do you set people up with, or your students up with homework or something to do at home on their own?
I always ask them, I says, what have you been doing? Whenever I see them, I says, what have you been doing? Have you been incorporating some of the exercises into your regime? And I always send them home with exercises that they can do. And most of them say yes. A lot of them, forget about it. But it's really nice when someone says to me, whenever I think of you, I hear you laughing, and that helps me to laugh.
Is there ever a danger of someone suddenly bursting into laughter, say on the bus out of the blue, and nobody else seems to understand what's going on?
I've seen many videos, YouTubes on that, and it's absolutely amazing to watch the reactions of people. And I have not yet done this at the bus stop, but I'm going to be doing it, because every time I see somebody else doing it, it's like, oh, this is so amazing.
Would you say that laughter can take the place of pain medicine?
Called Gelotologist, very cool name. And he funded Dr. Lee Burke. And Dr. Lee Burke's findings have been, all over in the medical studies. And so it's more being recognized now. And of course, there's Dr. Patch Adams, who we all know. Robin Williams played him. Does that ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
He's a big-time advocate of laughter and humor.
How much study is there in this area? Is there a lot of study?
Well, if you YouTube or you go to whatever you want to find out, you'll find all kinds of studies done on laughter.
Have you ever gone home from a session not happy?
No.
Impossible?
I'm always happy.
Just to expand on that thought, then, do you yourself ever find yourself down during a course of an ordinary day, and do you just use laughter therapy to get out of it, or?
I have frustrations, yes. Yes, yeah, and my frustrations are handled with laughter, or with telling the truth, speaking my mind. And laughing as I'm doing this, because the last thing I want to do is hurt anybody's feelings. So if I'm angry or if I'm frustrated about anything, then I always bring laughter into the equation, and I find it really helps me to relax and get a hold of what I'm trying to say and say it more clearly.
What kind of what are your goals for laughing? Would you like to see something like this in hospitals, being taught in hospitals or in schools in the elementary level? And how do you think that'll affect us as a whole?
Well, it'll create a whole new balance, a positive attitude. The children will be growing up with more self-confidence. There won't be as much bullying in the school system. They'll be able to become more creative. Their skills, their cognitive skills will improve. Memory will improve. Social, it's a huge social connector. I have done laughter yoga in the daycare centers. I have done laughter yoga in the hospitals as well. So it's important to have laughter therapy everywhere, because it can change, as we believe, the world. It can, and that's our goal, is to create world peace. Without asking too much.
Have you tried this? Have you tried teaching this to cellmates or in the prisons?
I'm glad you asked that question. I have talked to the chaplains down at the Hamilton Detention Center. A little bit of red tape going on down there. I am persistent. They are on my email list, so they do get my emails. I'm never out of their minds. So one day I will be in the prisons doing laughter yoga, and that is one of my goals. Even in the Penetanguishene prison, I have a contact there, and he's actually talking to people there trying to get me in.
How could they not just say, yeah, come on in?
Like a lot of red tape.
What about in the corporate world? Do you ever help people in the corporate world, like go to, a board meeting or something?
I've done board meetings before, gone in, done about a 5 to 7 minute spiel. And again, the reaction was, why is she here? We're here to work. And so I introduce it to them, and then I start introducing them to some of the exercises. 5 to 7 minutes isn't very long, but within that 5 to 7 minutes, you either turn people around or you've turned people away, because people don't want to accept laughter as a therapy. They're uncomfortable laughing in public at one time or another, or even growing, we're taught, don't laugh at this time. This is not the place. And for a lot of people, it's hard to laugh, and to belly laugh even harder. you know.
I think you're right. I think we're seeing so many kids and adults, they're dark and they start wearing dark clothes. And in the high schools, they wear dark clothes and they become negative and introverted in a very negative way and depressed. Mm-hmm. Have you been to a high school? Have you dealt with teenagers at all?
I have dealt with teenagers. They, again, you know, it's that social stigma. They may feel silly. They may embrace the laughter. Everybody's personalities are different. You know, you get those personalities where they're strictly, you know, business. Then you get the other personalities where they're shy. You get the personalities where, yeah, I'll do, you know, this is great. This is fantastic. I'm there. So it's the personality. And I think a lot of peer pressure in the schools, you know, contribute to that. But it's all a matter of them being subjected to it more and more. And once they hear about it, once they're there more and they feel comfortable, then they're going to be able to embrace that.
Do you ever foresee that it might become part of the curriculum, like have a class in laughter therapy?
In the States, Goldie Hawn, you know Goldie Hawn? She is a big, huge advocate of laughter yoga in the States, in the school boards. And, you know, all it takes is a lot of people to start calling these places. Like, I call as many places as I can. I do a lot of cold calling, and I never give up. You know, if they say not at this time, I keep at it. And the Board of Education, they really need to bring it in. And I've just started doing leader trainings. So the more trainings that I do, the more people I can teach to bring it to the classrooms, to take it into the hospitals, to take it into the prisons.
So what is your title then? What do you call yourself?
A certified laughter yoga teacher.
And do you earn a living at this?
I do.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, I do.
You find yourself very busy?
Yes, I'm very busy. When I'm not out laughing with, you know, somebody, I'm here working, talking with you, or writing articles. I've started writing articles, and they're being submitted into the health magazine. So yeah, I'm very busy. I also, as I said, work at a health food store twice a week. I'm also a holistic practitioner, so I do Reiki, craniosacral therapy, hands-on healing, touch for health. So yes, I am very busy. Yeah, where a lot of people are retiring, no, I'm just starting my life.
When one of your students can't break out of their misery or whatever it is that's keeping them blocked, do you help them, and they really want to laugh? How would you help them past that?
I don't get in their face when I feel resistance, but I do definitely make eye contact with them, laugh with them. Talking about that, there was a woman who was coming to the outside laughter sessions, and she didn't want to be hugged. And there's exercises where we do an appreciation laughter, self-positive messaging, and it includes hugs. And she would not let anybody hug her. Now, throughout the summer, this was happening. She would back away. Respecting that, I gave her space. One day near the end of the summer, we were doing this appreciation, and I just went over to her automatically without even thinking. She came over to me automatically without thinking, and we embraced. And it was like, wow, this is fantastic. So there was a definite breakthrough. So breakthroughs do happen.
Do you ever have to use sarcasm or jokes to help?
Never.
Never?
Never sarcasm. Never. I know I'm a terrible joke teller. When something comes out of my mouth, it's not always thought out. It just comes. It's just natural.
So how would you then start a session? I know you say there's a little bit of discussion that goes on before you actually get into the physical aspect of it.
Well, the warm-up includes raising of the arms, increasing the oxygen. So basically, you would raise your arms up over your head, breathing in through your nose. This is exactly what I tell everybody. And then just bring your arms down nice and slow to a nice long sigh. So as you're sighing, you're releasing still oxygen. Our bodies hold on to, if we don't breathe every day properly, then our lungs can be filled with 2/3 still oxygen. So you want to replace that. So as you're breathing out, you're sighing it out. And this is called a ragdoll. exercise. So you bring your arms down, you're slightly bent over, because when you stretch, you bend over slightly, you're helping to push the stale oxygen out. You always keep your head up because you always want to make eye contact with people. Because, as you said, a lot of people can't smile, can't laugh. If you're making eye contact with that person, you're going to have them smile back at you, or maybe even laugh. So then we do the side, then we raise our arms up over our heads again, and then I say, now let's giggle. And we all giggle. And then we raise our arms up over our head again, and then we laugh, and we slap our legs, and we move around making eye contact. So that's the first exercise that I do, is getting the arms up over their heads. And that's when the tendonitis, the bursitis, after the period of time, because you're laughing, you're not thinking about the pain, and the muscles start to relax. And once you've let that relax, as this woman said, she's never had chronic pain again.
Is this kind of like going to church in a way? I used to, when I was younger, I used to go play hockey, shinny hockey during the day when there was nobody around. And the one thing that I always realized, that when I was playing hockey, nothing else mattered to me. I was so focused on this hockey game. And you just kind of alluded to that. The whole point of this, the laughter therapy, too, would probably be to get a person to sort of forget about the crap that's going on.
That's right. And that's what happens when you're laughing. You don't think about the pain. You don't think of the frustrations or the anger. And when I was going to bring something up with that. When you're laughing, you're not, like I said, you're not thinking about anything else. So you're focused. And there are 3 rules to laughter yoga. There's no talking, because when you talk, then your mind's not on the laughter anymore. I have to listen to you when you're talking. I'm not laughing. And the idea is to laugh. So there's no talking. If you feel any pain, any issues, you stop, you breathe, you continue when you're ready. And if it's not right away, that's fine. You have to respect your body, know your limits. And the last one is to just have fun. So those are the 3 rules to laughter yoga.
Is there a limit how much a person should laugh?
If you laugh for over a minute, heartily, that's when you should be doing some breathing, because you can strain your internal organs. And when you're not used to doing this kind of laughter, then you may feel some pressure in the morning, but knowing that will pass. It's like doing any kind of a warm-up or an exercise. If you're not used to doing it, you're going to feel the effects later on. And laughter's the same way. I don't have any effects from laughter anymore because I laugh all the time. And the breathing part is also very important, as I said. So when you're combining those 2, it's very important.
So too much laughter could affect us negatively? Is this what you're saying?
Yes,
or without the proper warm-up?
Exactly. Like if there's certain contraindications. If you are pregnant, you should laugh heartily, because again, like there's people that will tickle their children, and they'll tickle them and tickle them and tickle them, and their child can't eventually breathe. So that's why you shouldn't tickle them for a long period of time. My younger son, I don't remember tickling my son that much when he was little, but he doesn't like to be tickled at all now. So I have an exercise that I do, is called phantom tickling. There's no touching. It's just getting your fingers as if you're going to tickle somebody, and you elicit laughter.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works.
It is. Yeah, my granddaughter, tickle me, Grandma, tickle me, and I'll tickle her a little bit, and then I back off, and then I'll do the phantom, or I'll just do the phantom, and she'll start giggling and laughing. And
have you had situations where people are laughing so much that they have an accident? just out of the blue, I just thought I'd ask that one.
No, it has not been an accident yet, but I've had people say, "Excuse me."
I guess that's kind of like that commercial for Viagra. If your erection lasts for 4 hours, go see a doctor. Something's wrong. Too much of a good thing.
Well, yeah.
We've had a very nice discussion here. Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't sort of touched on that you think is important in this discussion?
Well, the laughter clubs are very important as well. A lot of people don't realize how important it is, because when you go to a laughter club, you laugh longer. Because we're not laughing at a joke, and a lot of times there is no reason to laugh. And when you do laugh, and if it's a joke, then you don't laugh very long. So with laughter clubs, you get to laugh longer, you get to laugh louder, and you laugh for no reason. So that's why...
You'll have to explain that, laughter club.
Laughter, well, I run a club. My club runs twice a month. So if people come to the club, they just come because they know they're going to laugh. And so many people don't laugh very much. And again, if you laugh for a second, that's not going to give you the benefits that the laughter club will. So you laugh louder, you laugh longer, and you laugh for no reason.
What would you do in the laughter club? Who starts it? Who starts the laughing?
Oh, I do. Oh, I initiate. Yeah, I lead the whole thing. And that's what we've been talking about when I do my club and I introduce it. I'll talk about it. I'll start with a warm-up. I get into the laughter exercises and the breathing. We do our cool down and then our relaxation and our laughter meditation. And the laughter meditation is just free flow laughter. You know, a lot of the times we lie down. Just before we do our meditation, we lie down and we just let laughter ripple through our bodies like a fountain.
I would imagine this would help as well. Emotionally handicapped or developmentally delayed people, do you work with them ever?
I do. You're asking so many wonderful questions. I do. I work with Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club, and I see them once a month, and not all of them are in wheelchairs, but some of them are. They're mentally and physically disabled, and they're a wonderful group of people to work with. They absolutely love when I get there, and we laugh and we carry on, and just training, not even training these people, but giving it over to someone and saying, okay, what do you want to do? And that's just having them participate. And there's one woman there that she's just amazing. We do gibberish, singing in gibberish, and she just loves it, and everybody just gets a great big kick out of watching her. I actually trained a woman, not to be a leader, but she came to the training just to be part of the 2-day training, and she comes to the club, and she's mentally and physically challenged as well, and they just love it.
Does it take them a little bit longer to get it, or do they get it right away?
Right away. Yes. I have another woman who is, again, in a wheelchair and mentally challenged, and she's laughing even before she gets to the club. Yeah. And as soon as she hears me, she's laughing and reaching out and let's get started. She's nonverbal, but, it's just the way she, her hands going out for you. And yeah.
Is there a situation that's happened that really sticks in your mind that you'd like to share?
A particular thing that happened? Yes, for sure. I had a young man come to one of the classes where I run the club, and it was his first time. His mother told me that he hadn't smiled or laughed since he was a child, and he's in his 20s now. And the one particular girl that I was talking about in the wheelchair who reaches out giggling before she even gets there, they were there. And his mother and her boyfriend were there. Anyway, the young man who hadn't laughed for such a long time, he joined in with the warm-up exercises, and then we started getting to some of the laughter exercises. And he says, I'm just going to sit this one out. I'll do the actions, but I'm not going to laugh. I went, that's okay. So we sat down, and Lori, again, was getting very anxious about getting started. So she started raising her arms up and over her head and giggling. And I'm trying to explain this next exercise as she's already starting. So I asked this young man, I says, I would like it if you would help demonstrate this exercise. Would you be willing? And he went, okay, stood up, did the exercise with me. And for the next 40 minutes, he was engaged with laughing. So for me, that was phenomenal. A young man that hadn't laughed since he was a child and deciding, no, I don't want to laugh anymore. And then actually engaging in the laughter and participating with all the other people. And just watching him and this young woman in the wheelchair interact just touched my heartstrings.
Sounds like the perfect fairy tale.
Yes. Yeah, it was amazing to watch. Everybody was quite blown away. And that was the same evening the woman who had the chronic back pain, her chronic back pain disappeared that day too.
Amazing.
Next up is our comedian. known for his raunch and over-the-top humor, Jason Rouse.
I think in the beginning I was really, well, up till my late teens, I was super shy and kind of introverted kid. And then around high school, it was kind of a sink or swim situation, not only being at high school, but I went to an all-boys vocational school in Hamilton. So that's like, it's like Lord of the Flies meets Mad Max. You know? It was all dudes. It was all a lot of low-income families and stuff. So, and I was never really the tough guy. So I developed a sense of humor off of a defense mechanism out of survival. And met a few like-minded kids in my school. And rather than be a bully or a victim, we were always into making each other laugh. So that, and there was no real judgment or boundaries in the kind of humor that me and about 4 or 5 other kids had. That kind of started massaging the idea of, okay, this is becoming a curious thing, humor. And then when I saw In Living Color with Jim Carrey, that kind of really put a lot of things into motion. Not only him being Canadian, but the fact that he kind of rose from nothing and now is an icon. So that kind of planted more seeds. It's like, okay, I think I'm funny, and this role model of mine, who I'm a major fan of at this point, we're all doing drunken impressions of Fire Marshal Bill and at house parties and things like that. And then things just kind of got really bad for me in Hamilton in the early 90s. So I moved to Vancouver in 93, kind of reinvented myself, discovered a different social circle of friends, and that were, most of them were musicians. And I don't know if I'm answering your question. Am I?
Yeah, you're
kind of
you're doing it.
Okay, and then that was it. So then I moved to Vancouver in 1993, and then I started doing stand-up. Actually, my 18th year anniversary is tomorrow.
Yeah, the first time you got up on stage. So, I mean, I guess maybe we could lead up to that by just talking about when you figured you had the audacity to actually step up on stage in front of people and try this out for real.
I think there was a moment when I was partying pretty consistently every weekend out of high school, working a shitty job, and realizing, fuck, this is my life. I need some other creative element. So I'd go to house parties and do some silly things, and then and it was always around people my own age. And then one time we were at my friend's high school buddy's house, and his parents were there. And I was doing something, and his father had pulled me aside and says, "Man, you're really funny. You should look into doing stand-up comedy." And that was the first time I had, I think, an adult lean in and say, you know, what you're doing is good, and you should pursue it. I never had any really encouragement. All the other, you know, skateboarding and BMX bike, and that was never you can't make a living on your bicycle, you know, blah, blah, blah. You got to get a job and be miserable like us.
So you were just talking about, you know, your early first performances. Just talk about, just go back a bit because we were getting the break up there, but just, you know, how you thought you knew at that moment that you were ready to do some performing.
Well, it was, I never thought I was ready. It was something. It was like, well, this is all you have left. You know, you're not really qualified to do anything, even to push a broom in the steel mill. I didn't have the education. I needed a high school diploma to go work a shitty job in a factory, and I didn't have that. So as I ran into opportunities after high school, took 3 4 years to have a revelation, say, "Fuck, man, I better, grab onto something." My athleticism in skateboarding and the extreme sports stuff kind of peaked, and I wasn't turning pro anytime soon or gaining any kind of major sponsors. So I started to focus more on the humor, and then moving to Vancouver and kind of being a fly on the wall in the entertainment industry. But I mainly socialized and spent time with a lot of bands in Vancouver and watched a lot of how the mechanic. I knew it wasn't comedy, but I knew it was show business. So I befriended a lot of these musicians and kind of observed on the mechanics of, getting to a gig, booking shows, a performance, and all my heroes in a lot of them in stand-up comedy were kind of, Sam Kinnisons and the Dices and stuff like that. These kind of larger-than-life characters. And so then I started going on stage and doing opening for these bands, but I had no idea. I was more or less hosting a cry for help. But I knew that any stage time would be at least a move in the right direction, even if they were booing and screaming and yelling, which was more times than most how it went down, which helped me later on in my career weathering negative opinions and having the sense that not everyone's going to like what you do, and that's cool. But it took me a long time to get over people pleasing and doing things that was accessible to the mainstream. And I veered from that probably after I won my Gemini Award in 2001. But yes, I started. It's fucking weird. My career is fucking crazy. Like I can't even like I said, tomorrow's my 18-year anniversary. I started doing comedy in Vancouver in '96. I started doing comedy with Seth Rogen in Vancouver, and then just right from the beginning, and now I've been all over the world. International magazines, television, all this shit. It's been a wild ride. I'm very lucky.
So you're saying you're a relatively quiet guy early in your life, but at the same time, this whole comedy thing seemed quite natural to you then.
It did. It evolved in practice, but I always enjoyed making people laugh, and not only making them laugh, freak them out a little bit. I love scaring people. I love the holy fuck, like the initial shock and then the laughter that follows that. I like that.
So how would you?
I'll take a good groan.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'll take a good groan over an applause break any day.
How would you categorize your comedy yourself then?
Indescribable. Because I think a lot of it, there is the shock and the bright element to it. So if there's like, this is, I've used quotes from interviews and what have you, but I don't know. I think people should come and see it themselves, and they can make up their own opinions on what it's all about.
Well, we watched a little bit of it on YouTube the other day. It was very funny, very funny.
I have to come back in a month or a week. I'm going to come back and do a show on the 18th at Absent. So I'm coming back because my friend's going to die. So I have to fly back to, he's pancreatic cancer.
Not too bad.
So I'm going to fly back and do a little benefit show. Yeah, he's such a healthy young person. They've told me he has less than a year to live. And because of his insulin, his diabetes, he can't go through chemotherapy. So he's fucking finished.
So do you laugh at stuff like that? Like, is that, obviously you don't laugh at him and his condition, but generally about stuff like that.
I've learned, I don't know the environment I grew up, lemons and lemonade. So there's a good chance that I'm going to make fun of him when I see him that he's going to die. You know what I mean? To embrace all that horror and uncertainty, and try and have a good laugh out of it, and bring up some quality of life. Nothing's going to change, but and we're all going to die. So it's a matter of point of view, I think. You can find humor in anything if you just look at it at a different angle.
We're here with Julia. Julia, if someone is really sad or is having a bad day, down on themselves, we know laughter is a good medicine. How can someone quickly turn their mood around with laughter, and how would you think that would affect that person? I guess.
Very good. Interesting question. So we know that a good belly laugh changes our biochemistry. So in sadness, the chemicals running through our bodies and affecting our cells are going to be creating or maintaining that low state or the depressed state, and we want to bring that back up. The fastest way to do that would be a real belly laugh. So if we're in contact with somebody, laughter is contagious, and that laughing will affect us and reverberate within us, and we'll start to laugh. You can't help it. You'll just pick it up and you'll start to laugh. Once you start to laugh, those biochemicals change and you start to feel better. It will start pulling you out of that depression. So definitely find a place somewhere that you can get that wonderful belly laugh, and whether that be around somebody that just has that energy and is able to, you can absorb it from them and get inspired by it, or whether you watch a video that makes you laugh, something that really brings the belly laugh out, which is different than a laugh coming more from the ego. You want to go into the belly and really change those hormones and biochemistry within yourself.
Fantastic, thank you. Hi, Julia. When a person laughs, we know that many biochemical changes happen, but what about the energy level? What happens at the energy level when a person laughs? Can you give us a description of that?
Absolutely. A good belly laugh dramatically changes the energetic levels of the person, or really reinforces their energy bodies. So the radiant circuits are the ones that are filled with joy and would respond to a wonderful belly laugh. Those radiant circuits support the meridians of the body, and the meridians of the body maintain and support your vital life force. Therefore, your auric field would be stronger, more resilient, and you could easily bounce off insults and that type of thing, because it doesn't penetrate the same way when that energy field is full and strong. The central meridian is certainly one that you want zipped up, and that one does maintain that auric field of resilience. So you're not knocked around by different things that are happening in the world that can bring us down. You want that joy, and you want that laughter, and you want that strength of energy running through the system.
We know that the energy level gets affected by laughter. What about the physical level? How does that get affected by our laughter?
Wonderful questions. It's really, if we take our physical and we think of it down at the cellular level, and we know that the cells are being affected by the biochemistry, by the good nutrition that you're giving it, and that cells are reverberating with the joy that you're putting in emotionally as well. All of those factors supporting the cells, and our body is, I don't know how many trillion cells that create a human body. When we bring it up to the physical level, if each individual cell is communicating with the other cell and the other systems in a harmonious and balanced way, we will have a beautiful, strong, healthy body.
Hi, Julia. I have a question. We hear the statement, just laugh that off. Don't listen to me. What does that really mean in the energy space? And how does someone get affected by that statement?
just laugh that off, meaning there's some sort of arrow, there's some sort of negative thing that's being said there, and we all know that it impacts on us psychologically, right? And it will crush us, takes our energy down. So we want to, number one, not do that to people. We want to build them up and support them. But if it's coming at us, we want to be able to protect ourselves. So one of the ways to protect the self is to make sure that the central meridian, so running from the pubic bone up to the bottom lip, is hooked up and strong. And that protects the auric field. Being able to actually laugh and love keeps the strength in the radiant circuits and maintains the power of the auric field, so you're not so vulnerable to criticisms and that type of thing. And when the auric field is strong, the criticism is not you. It is the other person's opinion that is reflected and bounced back to them off, because you're not taking it in, you're not making it yours. So they then gain power if you do. If your auric field is strong, and it's love and joy that you have within you, that criticism bounces back off and they have to deal with it.
I see. Great. Okay, we often hear that in relationships, women and men both seek partners that can make them laugh. And often it's one of the linchpins to a relationship. So obviously there's some energy in laughter. What do you think's laughter's role in a relationship and in relation to energy is?
Yes. So the relationship, when there's laughter, there's joy and love being shared. That joy, that laughter that's being expressed is reverberating through the whole body, even at the cellular level. So the hormones and the cells are smiling, and the body physically manifests more and more radiance and health. So each person in that relationship that's able to laugh and enjoy together are building the strength emotionally, physically, biochemically, and I suppose even mentally and spiritually within that containment of their relationship. And it just gets more and more beautiful.
So, now we know a little more about how important laughter is in our lives, and how we shouldn't be afraid to laugh at even the darkest or scariest things in our life. It's probably the best approach to just laugh. Thank you to Kathryn Kimmins, laughter yoga instructor of laughyourselfhealthy.ca, for sharing the many benefits of proper laughing. And also, thank you to Jason Rouse for enlightening us on the importance of laughing at even the darkest things in our life. He can be found at jasonrouse.com. And thank you to Julia Juarez of Metamorphosishealing.ca for her input on the positive energy laughter can have on us. Most of all, thank you to you, our audience. You help to make this show possible. Please visit us at Dzintars.com for more information about this show. I'm Hilger. Thanks for listening.